Hey, it's Ryan Deeter here with Real of Ohio. In today's video, we're going to dive into the new listings for the Clintonville, Ohio area for the week of 9/26. This is Friday. 9/26 is a Friday. So you may have a few more houses hit the market, but most new houses for the week are already listed. So I'm just going to dive into them. Hoping to do this every Friday for you. So if you're looking to understand the Clintonville market, hopefully this will give you an idea of what's going on. You can see the new listings, get my quick opinion on them. But if you want to know more about any listing, any particular listing, or just the market strategy here in Clintonville, feel free to reach out to me directly. Like and subscribe as I hope to do these every Friday for you, so you can kind of learn the market yourself. So let's dive in. Alrighty, as you can see, there are 5 new listings that happened this week. The week of we're sitting at 9/26 here in end of September, and I'm just gonna go through the new listings. You can see the list of them here. I'm gonna dive into them really quick, get my short, quick, just snapshot opinion of it, and go from there. So you can see here we're gonna start from north to south. Be kind of what I tend to do here. 93 Leland Avenue is the first one as we jump in here. It's a cute Cape, I think it's Cape Cod, maybe a single story, but it's tell right away. You got the roof needs a little bit of love there, some growth on there. So that's the first thing that you notice. And the way I kind of understand housing, there's really 3 factors when I think about value. First thing is obviously location. So if we go back to the map, and that's the first thing you want to kind of focus on is the location. As we drive into here, you can see it's in, this is Old Beach Wald here, which is a big, jump from, Rathbone's kind of the next street up in this little area south of Graceland. And these streets are tend to be, homes are tighter together and tend to be, obviously less value than these neighborhoods that are more spread out, more space, things like that. So as you start to learn the Clintonville neighborhood, if you're not familiar with it, those are really important factors in Clintonville to understand the individual pockets of Clintonville. It makes a drastic difference on pricing and what people desire there. So let's jump back into this individual house. Just take a quick snapshot. It does have the wood floors, which I think those are wood. Yeah, they look like wood to me, which is a huge factor in Clintonville. People want wood, they want character. And so when you see a kitchen like this, kind of just a bland kitchen, it's not a deal breaker, but it's also not something people are going to be drawn to in this area. Right away, you can tell, just a small kitchen, kitchen and bath sells houses, but this is also, if you go to the details, the main details here, it tells you, it's a 3 bedroom, 1 bath, 1,000 square feet. Let's say it has a basement space. That's what this means. If it's square foot documented, means that the amount of square feet are above grade. And this is some kind of extra square feet. Most of the time it's a basement. Sometimes it's an attic space or like a 3 seasons room that can be included. But 3 bed, 1 bath. So 1 bath is a huge factor as well. As we see, most buyers would like to, especially when they're buying a house in the 300 plus range, would like to have 2 baths. So you're eliminating a lot of, buyers by just having 1 bath. So that's something to be aware of. Again, bathroom's decent, but very small. You can see that the vanity, very small there. And that kind of gives you an idea of the size of the bathroom, how tight that is. Nice close up of the soap. Cape Cod style, so that's what I thought it was, a Cape Cod. So it looks like it is, which this is pretty traditional of the Cape Cod, where you have 2 bedrooms on the first floor, and then you have one big kind of open space upstairs. What we see often going back is that if you ever added a bathroom here, it can add value to these Cape Cods if there's space, and that's a huge deal. So really with Cape Cods, it matters how tall the ceilings are. It can a 6 foot plus person stand up here without hitting their head, and do they have room to add a second bathroom up here and make this an owner suite upstairs? Can really add a lot of value. Downstairs, you see this is the extra square footage in the basement. Looks clean. In Clintonville, a big factor is it a dry basement? Is there any water in here? Is there any signs of water? Are the walls in good shape, things like that. Water softener system here. Kind of stand right in the middle of that space, makes it difficult to use. Decent sized backyard, garage, which is nice. It does have a garage. Sometimes you see these houses don't have garages, so having even a single car garage does help versus not. So I'm not going to get into do I think it's a fair price or not. That's something, if you're interested, I'm always happy to do an analysis for you, kind of show you some comparables. But I do know just the area that, things have sold for over 315 in that area. But at the same time, at 300 for a 1 bath, 1,000 square foot house, we'll be interested to see if it goes quickly. So that's kind of what I want to do is more so just kind of show you kind of things to think about. if you want to get like, hey, is this a fair price? I'm not going to give you a snapshot and analyze every house I go through, but I would be happy to send you a comps so it gives you an understanding of if it is a fair price or not. The next house is on Richards. Actually, let's go to the map. Let's see if that's what we want to do. Richards is way over there. So is there anything? Yep, that is the next house on the map too. So let's go to Richards here. Let's go to the details first. 3 bed, 1 bath again. About the same size, just under 1,200 square feet. No finished basement, at least. It may have a basement, but if it's not a finished basement or finished living space, then it won't be included. If it is finished, you can include it. But basement space can really make or break this. This was listed, looks like on a was it Tuesday, Monday? So it's been 4 days on market and not in contract yet. But let's take a look at it real quick. Nice stone front there. Looks like it has a garage. Photos aren't the best, but you got some wood floors. Looks like they've been refinished a few times. So not in the greatest shape. Kitchen needs a full rehab. And I will tell you, so kitchen and baths are what first name buyers really focus on, especially kitchens. They go to kitchens, and then baths, and then I think outdoor space is closely becoming a really big factor, not, kind of in comparison to kitchen and baths, then layout and finishes, other finishes, things like that. So, not a ton of photos here. I can tell you it's probably not a professional photos, which, again, photos make or break these things sometimes. It's a decent space. I mean, the location itself is one of the better locations in Clintonville. You're a little closer to Indianola. It's typically better to be closer to High Street than Indianola, but at the same time, you are in central Clintonville. They did price it just under that 400 range. Not sure why. 3997. Maybe they're lucky 777 there, hoping to get a little luck on their side. But I'd be interested to see if that one goes to the 400 range based on some of those things. The kitchen, we're seeing buyers. It's the fall market, and these are buyers out there are the right house, right price buyers. So that's really the what we're noticing, that will this be the right house for the right price for a buyer? I'm not sure. Here's a duplex on Hudson. So this is on Hudson, so the south part of Clintonville. We'll just kind of go down this list. And I'll show you on the map where it's at. It's actually right next to a new little, so I'll go all the way down here to the bottom. I said I was going to go north-south, but we'll jump ahead here to just the list. So this is actually a little coffee shop right here, which is really cool. I'm actually blanking on the name of the coffee shop right now. If you remember it, please put it in the let's see if it pulls up here. In the comments if you want to leave a comment, or maybe I'll put it in the comments for you. But a nice duplex in the what's considered Old North. Would you consider this Clintonville? Traditional Clintonvillians may not, but we'll include it in this video just to show you a little bit what a duplex may look like. This is the coffee shop here, and the nice duplex right next to it. And this coffee shop has one of the best backdoor patios in all of Columbus. They just rebuilt this, a couple years ago, and it's a really cool back patio. I think it's like kind of an underrated space. But 405, and both of them are rented out. If you want to know the analytics of this or want to know any more about it, please reach out. That's actually my listing. So I'd be happy to kind of dive into this with you for sure. So it's one of the reasons why I wanted to include it as well. So I can do that because it's my video. Next one's on Tulane, which this is going to be kind of the south, end of traditional Clintonville, right here in the heart of this little south of Weber area. Really the one of the things that most people consider Clintonville area is Arcadia, which runs right here. It runs right about there, into Glen Echo, kind of another little neighborhood. So kind of the gray area of Clintonville would be Old North. We'll include it in these videos because it's in the zip code. So I'm going to kind of include the 43202 zip code, which is the south end of the Clintonville area. We'll include that whole zip code in these videos. So as I intend to do these videos on a weekly basis to kind of give you an understanding of the Clintonville market. So Tulane here. Let's look at the details first. It's a 3-bed, 1 bath again. Kind of harping on that. A lot of 1 baths today. So that's where your competition. A lot of things hitting the market with 1 bath. That's always a big wild card with just 1 bath, because again, a lot of buyers their must-haves are 2 baths, and sometimes they won't forego anything under that. So, anyways, there's no photos. One of the things I a new listing but no photos, that's it's not a great thing, in my opinion, as a realtor, to not have photos because this is your first showing. And unfortunately, if I had a buyer that's interested in this, there's a big mystery of what condition is in the inside, and do they want to spend their Saturday afternoon not knowing if it's something they'd be interested in or not. Um, Anyways, so we will obviously, the 450 price point, if it's in good conditions, a fair price, but you just don't know. And last but not least, just around the corner on Tibet, and a lot of people say here in Clintonville is just south of Weber. So right here, not far from High. Obviously, a nice little shopping center here and restaurants to go to. So nice little spot there on a quieter street, even though you're really close to some of the walking features that Clintonville offers. It's like a good size house. Let's see what it actually is. Yeah, 1,700 square feet, which I would say that 1,500 is probably about average for Clintonville. So anything above that, that 1,770 is a good size. Three bed, two bath, and a half. So it's got two and a half. So this checks a lot of the boxes for a lot of people in Clintonville. At that 517 range is pushing a little bit in the price for this neighborhood. But I think since it's got the space and size and three, two and a half baths, that it might have a lot to offer. Let's see the condition. Obviously, that's going to be the big factor. It looks like it's in great shape. Beautiful wood floors, wood doors, wood fire mantle, some cool features there with the doors in the dining room. Updated kitchen. Looks like, is it updated or is this? Yeah, they're updated. Just kind of a cool classic look to the cabinets. I like that. Kind of that wood feature there. You can see. Yeah, sure. They did a good job. Keep blending the classic character of Clintonville with the new. Let's pull that up a little, make that bigger for you guys. Yeah, I like this kitchen. Yeah, they did a really good job keeping the architecture and finishes in line with the wood trim throughout the house and all that. So, bathroom, you got the clawfoot tub for the shared bath. Personally, I don't love clawfoot tubs. They just get water everywhere. But they've done a good job otherwise. Some people love them. So that's where, keeping it is kind of cool. I'm sure I wonder what that second bath would look like. As long as they have a second full uh, bath. I don't see those in the basement. Okay, there's your second bath. Not ideal. So that's where I would say that's where I would kind of use this as that's your second full bath down here in the basement. I kind of look at that as a half bath. It's helpful and nice to have. At the same time, not as helpful as having it an owner suite. Totally different. Most two baths, what people really want in two baths is a shared bath for the bedrooms of the family, then an owner suite for the main bedroom, and then a half bath on the first floor. That is textbook, what people look for. The bathroom in the basement and one upstairs is not quite as nice. Still better than one bath, of course, but yeah, look at this garage. Looks like it might have a space up above it, which again, they didn't include that in the additional square footage. No, they don't have pictures of it. Interesting. Be interested to know what's in that room. If that's like a room that you could use, is that an extra office space? What? Maybe the description tells us. Let's look at that real quick. Two-car garage, brand new roof, fresh paint, home blends, timeless character. Yeah, I don't know if it says it. Space. Yeah, it doesn't say what's in that room. So a little mystery there. So if anybody would like to go see it with me, let me know. I'll be happy to show you. Go see what's in that room. And that can really make or break the property. If you have an extra room, office space in here, that's something that, a three bedroom, two bath house with an extra office, could really push the house to the top level and maybe get it sold for that price. But we'll see. 2 days on market, meaning it listed a couple days ago. We'll see if they get an offer this weekend. Anyways, that's the gist of all the new homes listed on the market. Again, I hope to do these every Friday for you guys that are interested in learning more about this market and kind of keep you up to date on what's going on in the Clintonville market and those two zip codes. I will talk to you soon. Thanks. Oh yeah, and by the way, one last note. If you're interested in learning more about the data, I do a video on the data for these two zip codes as well. Please check that out if you want to know the actual data and where the market's going. That's helpful as well. So stay tuned. I'll see you next time.